Well, all right, guys, that was fun backing up the trailer underneath the chop saw table. So anyways, what we're going to be doing today is going to be cutting some wood up here. And this is all firewood. It's all ash from last week when I had the sawmill out. It was milling some 4x6s. And these are the ash pieces, the offcuts that I'm going to now cut up into 16-inch pieces for the fire this winter. So anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sample of the moisture content after a couple cuts, and we'll see what the moisture content of these pieces are. Also, they're going to drop into the trailer. We're going to get a load, so I'm going to bring this load over to where I'm going to store these things. And what I'm going to do is I'll take a content or moisture content of the pieces that are already sitting in the woodshed, and we'll compare the two to see how well those other ones have dried up. The other ones in the shed have been there for 2 years. So anyways, we'll just take a quick look here. You can see the chop table. It's designed so I can get a trailer underneath, and when I get the trailer underneath, you can see the saw there. The pieces will just drop inside. Every once in a while, what I'll have to do is pull the trailer up a bit forward so that I can load up more into the back. So that's not too bad. And if we come on this side here, you can see the length of it. You can get a bit of an idea here. So it's all made out of cedar, everything that you see, and it's solid. There's no issues in there. I've got some steps to get up, and I just climb up the steps here. And then I just used a saw and I just cut going down like this. The other thing too that I do is I slide each piece up. I'll just pull it up forward, and then I'll just cut, and it should drop inside. Now this is very light. When I lift the saw up, there's, I can look, I'm barely holding on to it. And a lot of people have suggested maybe I should put something to hold the saw up for when I'm using it and then just kind of pull it down. But I don't like that idea at all, because if this saw is up here and whatever is holding it up in the air, let's go say I have a cable, bungee cable or something, and I have my hand underneath there, I'm not going to like that too much. So this is the safest way. When it comes down, it sits here, and then my hands are completely out of the way, and the only way I can get my hand underneath there is if I actually reach underneath there, which I'm definitely not going to do. So anyways, let's get some wood cut. Well, all right, guys, cut a little bit up there. I just want to tell you a couple of the things that it's not a perfect system, but it works really easy. It works well. It's very easy on the back, no problems with that. It's not hard on the shoulder or the arm at all. The one thing I wanted to mention is that it does have a couple flaws in it, the system. And the first one is the width of the board here, as you can see. The 2x6, I think they're 3 inches wide, if I remember right. This here, I should have it more narrow. If it was more narrow, what would happen is the wood would drop in easier. As you notice, some pieces, when they're really wide, that they sit there and I have to move it by hand. So that's a little bit of a flaw in it. What I need to do is, just down where I'm cutting, if I would just thin it out, maybe go with 1 inch piece there, nice and solid, it would work much better, and something more rounded. So I'm going to make that modification at some point. The other thing I wanted to mention is that these really wide pieces, like that's 10-inch wide. That's about pretty much as max as I can go on this one, because right now I only have a 16-inch bar, and the way it's designed to pull the wood through, there's only room enough to get about 10, maybe 11 in there if you're lucky. But then again, this is more than big enough to move around up here on the table as well. So what I want to do is, as I mentioned, I wanted to take a moisture content reading on these. We'll do the first one right here. I've got the meter with me. And I decided to wait until I got it to some of the bigger ones because the thin stuff, just from picking them up, they felt quite dry. So this is a bigger piece. I decided to try it out. So there we got our test. Now I'm not going to be able to stick this in as far as I would like, and it's only because the wood is so darn hard. So I guess I'll go on this end here first. I'll plug it in as deep as I can get it. And my reading right now is 9.3. So if you can see that, hopefully you can see that on the camera. 9.3 is the reading that I've got on this big piece here on this end. And the reason why I'm doing it here more in the middle where I cut it is because this is, you know, the place where it was not open before. Put it in here too. And on this end here, what have we got for a reading? Look at that. We've got 29 on this end here. So I suspect that this end, the first one I showed you, is probably the end that was cut originally, and that this is where I just cut it now. There's a 29%, 29.3 I guess. So there's a lot of moisture still in this piece of wood. Let's just for fun try a small one. Let me see. Here's a small one, so we'll check both ends on it quickly. So I'll just plug it in there. What have we got here for a reading? We got 22.1, I believe, from what I was just seeing. So even the small stuff is still a lot of moisture in it. Now, there's something that you guys don't know about these logs here, and I just want to mention is that these logs were milled just a couple days ago. And then we had a couple days of rain, so I had to wait for the rain. Here it's 22.8%. Hopefully you can see that on the camera pretty well. Then we had a couple days of rain, then one day off, so it's about 3 days, I guess, 3 or 4 days since I did these on the mill. Now the one thing you guys don't know about is that these logs the logs themselves were cut 2 years ago, and they were sitting in a stockpile for 2 years before I actually milled them up just, you know, for 3 or 4 days ago. So anyways, I'm just going to continue to load the trailer up, and then what I'll do is I'm going to bring them over to the woodshed, and we'll check the stuff in the woodshed, and we're going to stack these in. 22% is not too bad. Now we're just getting near the end of August, so that's not a bad percentage. By the time it comes to burn this stuff will be below the 22%. So as long as it's below 20%, I'm fine with it. It burns pretty well. Well, all right, guys, that pile is done. One other thing I wanted to mention was when I'm cutting that if I have to refill the saw because it is gas, it's a little bit of a pain because I have to disconnect it. It only takes, I don't know, 20 seconds to disconnect it, but it's an extra 20 seconds to disconnect and then reconnect it to where it pivots here. If you have a battery saw, it might be a bit better if you have some extra batteries. When battery goes dead, you just pop the next one in. It would be much quicker, so it'll be a little bit more efficient that way. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I only moved the trailer the one time that you've seen me move it, I just started grabbing the pieces instead of getting up and moving the trailer a little bit more often. I just grabbed the pieces and threw them into a different spot in the back or into the middle, somewhere to fill the hole up. So, you know, that made it quite easy. It's a lot easier than trying to do it any other way that I've done before, and I've done it many other ways. So I'm really enjoying this system that I've got here. Like I mentioned, there are some flaws in it. I have to tweak it a little bit more. It's a relatively new system for me, but so far I'm really liking it. Anyways, guys, let's pull the load out of here, and then I'm going to bring it to the woodshed, and we'll check out the moisture content of the other wood, and we're going to stack this pile. Well, guys, you can't beat that. I'm nice and close to the woodshed door. It's not going to be very far to carry the wood out of the trailer, pick it up a little bit, and then just drop it into the woodshed. So, guys, it's not bad of a load here. You can see it's pretty leveled off, so not too bad. Anyways, we'll go in here into the woodshed, and you'll see here I've got a bunch of kindling here. That's just what was left over from last year. I've got a big stack of this, about 10 times the size of that in the back. And then you can see the wood here. This is all what was left from last year. Never burned any of this. So this was not piled in this year at all. So as I mentioned, we're going to take a sample of the moisture content of the wood in here in the woodshed. We'll just pick a couple of them here. We'll take the meter out. This here is just a bunch of scrap wood too to burn. This is something I was turning on the wood lathe, and it kind of got destroyed. You can see I broke it here, right there. It cracked on me. So anyways, no big deal. It's good for the fireplace now. So let's take the moisture meter in here and try a couple of these logs out. By the looks of them, like this right here, looks a little bit wet to me, but we'll find out. We'll just plug it in here. Okay, and you can see, well, it's at 16%. That's not that bad. That's 15.9 or it's 16. Depends if I keep wiggling it or not. Just over 16%, so that's pretty decent. Let's try another one down here. Try this piece of cherry. If I can get the thing in there. Oh, that's hard as rock. It's already down to 7.4 or so, and I'm pushing on that pretty hard. So let's try another piece of wood here. Let's try a piece of ash. I gotta get down lower because I can't reach up there with the camera. So a piece of ash here. I'm pushing pretty hard. Any harder I'll break the machine. So we're down here at 9.3. So the stuff in here is very dry. The one up the top was a little bit more moisture, but not a big deal. It's well within range for burn season. So, and then over here, I'm just going to go out. I've got this pile here. This is basically some of the stuff we'll probably use all of this year here. We can also check these and see how dry these are. This is 99% ash in here. And look at that, it's 16%. And 15.6, it dropped a little bit. So anyways, and I'm obviously not checking in the center of the log. I'm just checking at the end. So it's going to be maybe a little bit more moisture inside the center, but I think it'll be below 20. This here was cut and stacked this year. You can see how it's not as gray or washed out as the stuff down there on the bottom. You can see quite a bit of difference in the color. So anyways, guys, let's get some of this stuff stacked. As I mentioned, it's going to be quite easy to stack this stuff because all I have to do is pick it up from here and just go over there, and that's nothing. So this is working out pretty good. So let's get some of this done. Well, right guys, the trailer's all emptied. You can see here there's lots of wood chips from when I was cutting, quite a bit more than I thought there would be. So anyways, no big deal. I'll dump that out. So anyways, we'll go here in the wood pile here and we can take a look. And we can see here, very, very, very nice ash. So, and I got a little bit of a stack here as well. So anyways, guys, that was a lot of fun to do. I enjoy doing the wood like that. I'm going to go off and do some exercise after I put the equipment away. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have, you can always give it a thumbs up. We would appreciate that. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Gelling Outdoors.